Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Yusuf Shakeel and you are watching jQuery tutorial series. In this video, we are going to learn how to select HTML elements using selectors in jQuery. And guys, I will post all the tutorial notes on my website dyclassroom.com, and all the code that we are going to write in this video, I'll put them in my GitHub repository. You will find the links in the video description, so please check that out. And guys, if you find this video interesting, then please like this video and please subscribe my channel. And please don't forget to click on that bell icon so that you will get an update whenever I upload a new video. Alright guys, let's get started. Alright guys, I have opened the project folder in Sublime Text, and inside the project folder, I have created a new file, selectors.html, and I have written the following code. And inside the JS folder, I have created a new file, selectors.js. And I've included this JS file inside the HTML file by writing this script tag. And I've also included jQuery, which is also inside the JS folder. And now we'll go ahead and open this file in Chrome. And we'll also open the DevTools. So we'll go to View, Developer, and we'll select the DevTools. And we'll open the console tab. Let's start our journey by selecting elements by ID and class. So inside the body, I'll create a comment, selecting element by ID and class. So let us create a paragraph. And inside the opening paragraph tag, let us give it an ID, username. And I'll set my name. And let us create another paragraph and give it a class, description. This is a sample description. So inside the body, we have two paragraphs. The first one has an ID, username, and the second one has a class, description. So if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, we get the two paragraphs. Now if you're familiar with CSS, then in order to target an element by ID, we use the hash sign. And to target an element by class, we use the dot sign. So just to show you an example, I'll create this style tag inside the head. And if I want to target this paragraph having ID username, I have to write hash, then the value of the ID, which is username, and then I can write some CSS style rules. Like for example, I can set the color to blue. And now if I save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, you'll see that the color is now blue. Similarly, if I want to target this paragraph having class description, I have to write dot description, and then I can set some style rules. Let's say font size, and let's say I want to set it to, let's say 12 pixels. So I'll save the file, and now I'll go back to Chrome, and if I reload, you can see the size has changed. Alright, so now if we want to select an element using ID and class in jQuery, we use the same method that we used in CSS. So I'll go ahead and comment this style. So if we go back to Chrome and reload, we no longer have the style applied to those paragraphs. And now, let's say we want to target this paragraph having ID username, and we want to change the color to blue. And this time we are going to use jQuery. So inside our selectors.js file, first we want to run our jQuery code only after the DOM is ready. So we'll use the shorthand. You can also use $document.ready function and then write the code inside this function. So I'll comment this. So inside this, we are going to select this paragraph element having ID username. And in jQuery, we select an element using ID by writing $ and within opening closing bracket and inside double quotes or single quotes, we write hash and then the ID, which is username. So now we have selected an element by ID and the ID is username. And now we want to change the color of that element to blue. And to change the color, we use the CSS method. So we'll write .css and then opening closing bracket and semicolon. Now inside this, we pass a key, which is color, and a value, let's say blue. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome, reload, we can see that the color of the first paragraph having ID username is changed to blue. Similarly, let's say if we want to change the font size of this paragraph having ID username to, let's say, 24 pixels, then we can again write .css font size and we can set the value to 24 pixels. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, the font size of the first paragraph having ID username is now 24 pixels. Now we can combine these two style rules, color and font size, into one by simply passing an object. So I'll comment this and I'll again target that paragraph having ID username and I'll write .css, and this time we are going to pass an object using curly brackets and we'll set the color to blue and font size to 24 pixels. Remember, if we are passing an object, we'll have key value pairs and they are separated by colon. So now if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, we get the same result. Alright, now we'll target the second paragraph, which has a class description, and we'll change the font size of the second paragraph to, let's say, 18 pixels. So inside our selectors.js file, we'll first target the paragraph having class description. And to target an element by class, in jQuery we write $, opening closing bracket, and inside double quotes or single quotes we write dot because we are targeting by class and then the name of the class. So description. So now we have targeted the element by class. And this time we are changing the font size to, let's say, 18 pixels. So we'll again use the CSS method. And we are only going to change the font size, so we don't have to pass an object. We can pass an object, but for simplicity, I'll just pass the font size and the value, which is 18 pixels. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, the font size of the second paragraph is now changed to 18 pixels. And we can inspect this and we can see that the font size is now 18 pixels. Alright guys, so we have learned how to select element by ID and by class. Now we'll learn to select element by tag. So this was selecting element by ID and class. Now we are going to select element by tag. So let's say inside our HTML file, we have selecting element by tag. Let's say we have 3 div 1, div 2 and div 3. So div 2 and div 3. And let's say we want to change the font size to 24 pixels. Now in CSS, in order to target an element by the tag, we simply write the tag. So div, and we set the style rules. So we want to change the font size to 24 pixels. So we set font size to 24 pixels. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, we can see the font size of this 3 text is 24 pixels. Now in order to target element by tag in jQuery, we use the similar approach. So I will comment this. And we'll go back to selectors.js file. And to target the element using tag, we use the $, bracket, and within double quotes or single quotes, we pass the tag, which is div in this case. So now we are selecting all the divs in this selectors.html file. And if we want to know the number of elements that got selected, we simply write .length. And we can save this in a variable, let's say I and semicolon. And then we can console.log number of divs selected, and we can pass I. So now if we save the file, go back to Chrome, clear the console and reload, we can see the style of this 3 divs have changed because we commented out the style. And we can also see in the console that the number of divs selected is 3 because we have 3 divs in this selectors.html page. So now if we want to change the font size of this divs to 24 pixels, we can use the similar approach. So I will comment this out. We can write $, bracket, and within double quotes or single quotes, we can pass CSS. This time I want to pass an object, and let's say font size 24 pixels. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, we again get the text in the divs and their font size is now set to 24 pixels. We can even select HTML element by tag and ID. So for example, if we want to select this paragraph element by tag P and ID username, then in jQuery, all we have to do is, let's say, select element by tag and ID. So if we want to select that paragraph using the tag P and ID username, we have to write $, brackets, and within double quotes or single quotes, we'll use the tag, which is P, and then the ID. And for ID, we use the hash and then the value username. So now we are targeting the paragraph having ID username. And let's say if we want to change the background color to, let's say, yellow, we can write .css background dash color yellow. So if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, now we have yellow background. Similarly, we can target an element by tag and class. So if we want to target this paragraph P having class description, then in jQuery, if we want to select element by tag and class, we write dollar, brackets, and P, which is for tag, and we are targeting by class, so we'll write dot, and then the class description. And let's say we want to change the background color to light green, so we'll write dot CSS background color light green. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome, reload, we get light green background color. Now please note, selecting element by ID is faster than selecting element by class. Because if we are selecting an element by ID in jQuery, then jQuery knows that there will be only one element having that ID value. So for example, if we are selecting an element having ID username, then jQuery knows that in this page, it is going to have only one element having that ID username. But if we are selecting element by class, then jQuery has to scan the entire page and look for that class value. So that will take a longer time compared to ID. So you need to keep this in mind, that when you are selecting element by ID, then it will be relatively faster than if you're selecting element by class. Now we'll learn to select direct descendant. So in our HTML file, selecting direct descendant. So let's say we have an unordered list, and let's say we give it an ID. Let's say fruits1, and then we have some list items. Let's say apple, mango, orange. And let's say we have fourth list item, which contains an unordered list, and it has an ID, let's say fruits2, and it has some list items, let's say banana, pomegranate. So this is fruits2 list, and this is fruits1 list. So now if we save the file, go back to Chrome and reload, we can see we have fruits1 list, apple, mango, orange, and then we have fruits2 list, banana and pomegranate. So if we look at this unordered list having ID fruits-1, then its direct descendant are these four list items: apple, mango, orange, and fruits-2 list, which contains another unordered list. So in CSS, if we want to target direct descendant of, let's say, this unordered list having ID fruits-1, we can write ul hash fruits-1 greater than sign and li. So this will target all the list items that are direct descendant of unordered list having ID fruits-1. Now, direct descendant are the child nodes that are directly connected to the parent node. So if you want an example, you can say your child is your direct descendant, but your grandson or your granddaughter is not your direct descendant or child, but your descendant. So your son or your daughter is your direct descendant or children, and your grandson or granddaughter is your descendant. So in jQuery, if we want to target all the direct descendant of this unordered list having ID fruits-1, then we can write select direct descendant. We can write $ brackets, and within double quotes or single quotes, we are targeting the unordered list having ID fruits-1, and we are targeting the direct descendants, so we'll use the greater than sign, and we are targeting the list items that are direct descendant of the unordered list. And if we want to confirm that we have selected only 4 list items which are direct descendant, we can write length, and we can save it in a variable, let's say x, and we can console.log number of direct descendant x. And now if we save the file, go back to Chrome, and if we reload, we can see number of direct descendant is 4. Now let's say we want to target all the descendant of this unordered list having ID fruits-1. So we can also write here direct descendant and descendant. So if we want to select all the descendant of this unordered list having ID fruits-1, and we are targeting the li descendant, so in CSS, let me comment this. Then in CSS, if we want to select all the descendant li element of the unordered list having ID fruits-1, we write the tag ul, then the ID fruits-1, and this time we are selecting all the descendant, that is direct child and grandchildren. So we don't use the greater than sign, and we simply write the li. So if we want to select all the descendant li element of an unordered list having ID fruits-1, then in jQuery, we can write select descendant. So we can write $ bracket, and within double quotes or single quotes, and we are targeting the unordered list having ID fruits-1, and we are targeting all the descendant li element, so we'll write li. And now if we want to check the number of descendants selected, we can write .length, and this will give us 6, because this 4 list items are direct descendant and these 2 list items are descendant of this unordered list having ID fruits-1. So in total, we are selecting 4 plus 2, 6 list items. So this will give us 6. So if we save this in a variable, let's say var y, and we console.log number of descendant, and if we save this and go back to Chrome, and now if we reload, we get number of direct descendant 4 and number of descendant 6. So in jQuery, if we want to select direct descendant, we use greater than sign, which is similar to what we do in CSS. And in jQuery, if we want to select descendant, then we don't use greater than sign, which is also similar to what we do in CSS. So I'll comment this. Alright guys, this brings us to the end of this tutorial. I'll post the tutorial notes on my website dyclassroom.com, and all the code that we are writing in this tutorial series, I'll put them in my GitHub repository. You will find all the important links in the video description, so please check that out. And guys, if you find this video interesting, then please like this video and please subscribe my channel and click on that bell icon so that you will get an update whenever I upload a new video. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in my next video, and like always, stay happy and keep smiling. Bye.